This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. This is lesson 44 in this series that is all about jazz guitar. As you know, I love jazz guitar. I'm a recording jazz artist. Love the fact that I can bring this course to you. Now, in this lesson, we're going to look at rootless voicings for minor seventh chords. We've been working a lot on chords in the last several lessons. In lesson 33 of the course, I explained the formula for creating some of the most commonly used, commonly played, popular jazz voicings. Voicings of seventh chords and so on that are used in jazz. And we went through a lot of them that have the root, but now in this part of the course we're working on these rootless voicings. And as I've explained, there's no such thing as a rootless chord, because the root's what gives us the context of the pitches that are sitting over that root. But we can play rootless voicings when another instrument is playing the root. For example, the bass. In a bass line, we'll get lots of the root, and we can sit rootless voicings in a comping context on top of that, which sounds really great. And as a solo jazz guitarist, I will sometimes plant in the sound of a root and then play some sort of rootless thing over the top of it. So super cool, although that one there had the root in, but that one doesn't. So I can sit rootless voicings on top of that and you get these really nice sounds. And I did that a lot in my Musician album, which is a solo jazz guitar album. So we're going to work here on these rootless voicings. We've worked already with the dominant seventh chords in the last lesson and even did some with the suspended dominant sevenths. And in the one before that, we did major seventh and major sixth chords. So now we got these minor sevenths, and then in the next lesson, we'll put the three together into some great 2-5-1s, because we play in that context all the time when we're playing tunes in jazz. So let's just go ahead and take a look at these voicings. Now up here on the board I've got these diagrams, and I've got the R in parentheses. That's where the root would be if we were playing it with this type of voicing, the type of voicings that I explained in lesson 33. So if you're just jumping in here, you may want to see some of the previous lessons, and lesson 33 would help you understand the formula for creating these types of voicings. Now we're just getting into the application and getting some of these great ones down. So we're going to have the root there, and then on the other set we have the root on the fifth string. I have to know where that root is so I can know what pitches to play. So in my mind, I'm always keeping track of where the root is if I were playing it. That's how I keep track of these voicings. And that's the easiest way for me to just memorize where that root would be and how things sit in context to the root. A lot of times we are playing voicings that would have the root there. So for me, that's the easiest way to keep track of these, is just to mentally know where the root is even though I'm not playing it. And that helps me position things on the fretboard much easier. So you got the root on the fifth string, the root on the fifth string, the root on the sixth string, where they are. These are lined up fret to fret, which is hopefully helpful as we work around these different voicings. We're going to have that flatted seventh and flatted third that we have in our minor seventh chords right on the inside two strings. So for this set, we've got the flatted seventh on the fourth string, the flatted third on the third string, and then it switches for the set that has the fifth on that, the root on that fifth string. Then, with these voicings, we're always going to use the ninth, and that's because the only alternate option for using the ninth for these voicings is to use the root, and that's a boring pitch. We want that color in there when we're playing these. So we've got the ninth on the high string for the sixth string form, and it's on the second string for the fifth string form. So we're going to always have the ninth. And then we have three options. So we have three different voicing options with that. We can put the 11th in there with the ninth, or the 5th, or the 13th. Same thing for both, though for the sixth string form, that 11th, 5th, and 13th are on the second string, and for the fifth string form, they're on the top string. So we're going to have three different voicing options as we work through these. Let's just go ahead and start off with the 5th against that 9th. So if I was doing this in the key of C, I'm going to have my root there on the 6th string, and I can just bar at that same fret, so the 8th fret, with my index finger across all of these, and then reach up for that 9th with my pinky or my ring finger, 2 frets higher. Now, interestingly enough, if you went through the last lesson, you'll notice that, oh, we played a voicing like this for suspension. Yes, isn't it interesting again that rootless voicings can change. We can use the same voicing in different settings for different types of chords. It all depends on what the root is. So that's why there's no such thing as a rootless chord, but there are rootless voicings that we sit on top of. Somewhere that root has to be being played though, even if we're not playing it in the context of the arrangement, in the context of the ensemble, it has to be being played somewhere, or the chord isn't what we think it is. So the root's what gives us what the chord is. So we got that C minor 9 there with the 5th. And then for the 5th string form, you could take a look there. We would have, with just the 5th, I just played the 13th, but I'm going to bar across with my ring finger and 2 frets lower is my root. So my ring finger is in the same fret as the root would be if we were playing it, and my index finger goes 2 frets lower. So for F, that's right there with my index finger at the 6th fret, and my ring finger at the 8th, and then back up to C minor 9, and then F minor 9. C minor 9 and F minor 9. You just want to get used to going back and forth, keeping track of how you can see those. Then you want to take that around the circle of 4s. So C minor 9 to F minor 9 to B flat minor 9, E flat minor 9. If this is the first lesson you're jumping in on and you're not familiar with the circle of 4s, I have those roots written up here on the board. On that low 5th and 6th string, we can start that C at the 6th fret or the 8th fret of the 6th string, and then we have F there. Go down 2 frets for B flat and E flat, A flat and D flat, come up to G flat at that 9th fret, B and E at the 7th, A and D at the 5th, G and back to C. So sitting with that there, I would have my minor 9th chord for C, then my minor 9th chord for F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, and C. Just like that. Now, once you can do that, we're going to go through right here together and comp these over a backing track. So the backing track has the bass line, so we can hear these in context. Really, really helpful. So this backing track, like all the backing tracks that I create for this lesson series, are available for you to practice along with it as much as you'd like to without me playing over the top as their own video. There is a link in the description below. You can also find all of them on the Jazz Jam Along backing track playlist, which is on the channel as well. So a couple places where you can find that and you can play along with that as much as you'd like to. But we're going to go ahead and comp these chords or play these chords over top of that backing track, which is going to work around the circle of 4s. It's going to give us 4 bars per chord. As far as comping rhythm, you can use whatever is comfortable at the moment. We're going to talk about comping rhythms later after we've got some voicings down. So I find it not helpful as a teacher and as a learner to focus on more than one new thing at once. So we're going to work on these voicings, and then we'll work on lots of great ways that we can comp with them with comping rhythms and so on down the road in another lesson. But just basic stuff that we've done before, we could do da, da, do, dot. We've done that. You can make a couple variations, do, dot, dot, or leave that first one off, do, ga, dot. You can make things hold out longer, ga, ga, or something. So a little bit of variation. You can do that if you'd like to, if you're comfortable with the voicings. If not, just play them long and find where they are and hear them over that bass line. Anything that's easy, worry about rhythm later if you need to. But let's go ahead and play over this. So we got the C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, Okay, super cool. I love that sound. That sound is so, so great. Let's take a look at another one. We can swap, instead of having that 5th, we can have the 13th. Now, I don't use this one as often. It's got a little bit of a harsher sound, bringing that 6th in there in the minor context. It's not always my favorite sound, but sometimes it really hits the spot. So, in this case, I'm just barring with my ring finger across those top 2 strings. So you can find that there. Slight change to make that one happening. And then to bring in the 13th on the other one, you got to reach up with your pinky. Sometimes in seeing this one, I just think, oh yeah, one finger higher and I'd have the dominant 13th, so now it's a minor 13th. Just bringing that finger down. Sometimes correlating them with the different qualities that we kind of memorize can be helpful. Just learning where these pitches are and how we can adapt to make the different voicings, as I explained in lesson 33. So with this one, you want to go back and forth, get comfortable with that between C and F, and then you could take a look at taking it around the circle of 4. So from C to F, B flat to E flat, A flat to D flat, up to G flat, B, E, A, D, G, and C. Big stretch there at the end. Of course, you could always jump higher along the fretboard if you need to. If you can't make these big stretches at towards the bottom, towards the lower end of the neck, you can come higher and do the voicings higher instead. But let's go ahead and take those voicings over the backing track. So we got C, F, and B flat. Flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C. Okay, great. Let's take a look at the one with the 11th in it now. So instead of having the 13th or the 5th, we can go down to the 11th. Now with this one, huge stretches. So if you get down low and you can't quite pull off that distance, you can always come up higher and play them higher instead, as I sort of explained with the 13th as well. But this one's especially this way because we're stretching across 5 different frets. But I've got my middle and ring fingers in the fret with the root on it, so 8th fret. My index finger goes 2 frets lower at the 6th, and my pinky is 2 frets higher at the 10th to play C minor 11. It's a great voicing, but it is challenging that way. For the 5th string form, it's not so bad. You can bar over 2 frets below where the root is, and then put ring and pinky down, or middle and ring, however you want to do that one. So that one's kind of a little bit more finger friendly. And such a great sound having that 9th with the 11th on top versus having the 11th with the 9th above it. Love the voicing that way. So once you've got that, you want to go back and forth between the two, get comfortable going through those, especially finding that that C minor That C minor 11, such a big stretch. Once you can do that, then yes, finding it around the circle of 4, so C minor to the F minor to the B flat to the E flat to the A flat, and this is where if you needed to you could come up and instead play it with the other form, but I'll play it there, and then D flat. We come up for G flat, and then we got B, E, A, D, G, huge stretch, and C. So you could alternatively play G up here instead of playing it down here if you need to. Those are big stretches. So, cool, let's take that and play that over the backing track now. So we got C, F, B flat, big stretch, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and B, E, A, and D, G, C, okay, super great. Of course, that can be a little challenging, so it's always good to stretch. We really have to have an athletic mindset when we're playing the guitar because we're asking our hands to do some pretty athletic things. So stretching is a really good thing to do when we're working on playing, and the more something is demanding on our hands, it becomes even more important to treat our arm, our hand, our shoulder, all of that really well. Massaging is also really good. I use a massage gun because I can't run over and get a massage all the time, but massaging, stretching, those kinds of things are important. And if we're getting pain, sometimes rest is important as well. So we got to take care of our hands, our shoulders, our back, our bodies. This is an athletic activity. So super cool, super fun. Having these rootless voicings really opens up our options for when we're comping the chords. So lots of great things, and we want multiple voicings when we're comping in sort of a pianistic, more contemporary style. We're going to be working on the rhythm further down the road. We want to get some voicings down first. So now that we've done minor 7th, dominant 7th, and major 7th, even major 6th, we're going to go ahead and throw them together with some good voice leading, work on some 2-5-1s, because besides working sometimes around the circle of 4ths from one chord to another in a song, we do a lot of movement in sort of a 2-5-1 or a 5-1 or a 2-5 context. So we're going to practice with that, put these together, so that'll help us be prepared as we're comping the chords in an actual tune. So we're going to do that in the next lesson. These lessons are coming out on Mondays, Wednesdays, occasionally on Fridays as well. We've got Technique Tuesdays, Theory Thursdays, which are great supplements to the jazz course. On Saturdays right now, there is a series where we're working on improvising in the pop, rock, and blues styles. So lots of great lessons coming out every week. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds, over 900 lessons on the channel, covers various topics. So lots of great ways to get help with the guitar. Of course, there's the method books and so on as well. So keep having fun, take care, and we'll see you again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.